Imagine Ladybug becoming the newest victim of the Chrysalis Akuma. How would Paris continue to face evil without its heroine? What happens next could change everything we know about the Miraculous Ladybug universe. Are you curious? Find out the consequences of the shocking episode Larry Chaos from Season 6 right now. And one of the first reasons I thought of for Ladybug to be akumatized would be if she told the truth about Monarch being Gabriel Agresti to Cat Noir. Marinette would no longer be able to keep the secret that Gabriel was Hawk Moth, Shadow Moth and Monarch all this time. But she couldn't tell this secret to just anyone, because if Chrysalis akumatized this person, the secret could spread. Therefore, I think the best person for her to confide in would be her partner, Cat Noir. The problem is that she doesn't know that he is Adrien Agresti, and dropping this bombshell on the hero all at once would be too much for him. So much so that, even though Ladybug had done it for Adrien's own good, afraid that he would discover the terrible truth about his father, Cat Noir, who is obviously Adrien, would explode at her, just as we saw in the London special. But, this time, he would confront her for having lied to him and to all of Paris, completely breaking the trust he had in his Larry. The big problem with all this is that Ladybug would now be more vulnerable than ever to the Chrysalis's Akumas. I believe that, even seeing the evil butterfly approaching her, the heroine would think, "What else do I have to lose?" and would let herself be carried away by her negative emotions. At this point, we all already know what would happen, right? The Chrysalis would have the heroine in the palm of her hand, transforming her into Larry Chaos, a corrupted version of Ladybug, now much more diabolical and vengeful, like Shadow Bug herself. A direct confrontation between Larry Chaos and Cat Noir would take place, with him realizing the huge mistake he made by not supporting his partner when she needed it most. Larry Chaos would possibly summon a super powerful and destructive talisman, throwing it at Cat Noir. But who would save him at that moment? Bunnyx, of course. She would pull the kitten into the rabbit hole, where she would explain that her heroine was corrupted by an extremely powerful Akuma. To show the gravity of the situation, she would travel back in time and show Cat Noir all the destruction that Larry Chaos caused in Paris. The hero would ask Bunnyx if they could go back in time to see what caused that akumatization. Thus, we would see the exact moment when Cat Noir abandons Ladybug after she reveals the true identity of the Monarch to him. Soon after, Chrysalis would send her Akuma, transforming Ladybug into Larry Chaos. Bunnyx would realize that the hero was more than ashamed of having been the main cause of this horror. But, being the good advisor that she is, Bunnyx would ease up on the kitten's side, saying that he could go back in time and fix this mistake, as long as he didn't make Ladybug cry out of sadness again. Then, Bunnyx would open a loophole for Cat Noir to go back to exactly the moment he and Ladybug met after the battle that day. Cat Noir would thank her friend and promise not to make the same mistake. Even though she would have to hear the painful confession again about her father having been the Monarch all this time, Cat Noir would hug Ladybug, saying that she shouldn't have kept this secret for so long. This would bring the hero duo even closer together. In other words, this episode would be another one of those what-if-s that Miraculous loves to do, just like it was with Cat Blanc. But what if this episode isn't just a what-if, and Ladybug really is akumatized by Chrysalis? To find out, you need to like this video and stay with me here. As we well know, the only objects of Ladybug that could be akumatized are her earrings and her yo-yo. If the yo-yo were captured by an Akuma, Paris would be in serious trouble, because the only option Cat Noir would have would be to use his cataclysm on her yo-yo, which is precisely the only weapon capable of purifying the evil butterflies. That's why, every time I think about Ladybug transforming into Larry Chaos, I immediately imagine Bunnyx as one of the protagonists of this episode, since time travel seems to be the only plausible option to save Ladybug without destroying anything and without altering the past or the present. Unless Bunnyx did something really bold, like bringing a Ladybug from another timeline to save the Ladybug from the present. It got a bit confusing, didn't it? But with Bunnyx, everything is confusing. Still, as we saw in the London special, the rabbit heroine would have to lend Ladybug at the exact moment, without anyone seeing what happened, except the heroine herself and Bunnyx. That way, Cat Noir could easily destroy the heroine's yo-yo, which had been taken by the Akuma, ending Ladybug's akumatization as Larry Chaos once and for all. With Ladybug from the other timeline purifying the evil Akuma and casting her talisman, all the damage caused by Larry Chaos would be undone, and the current Ladybug's broken yo-yo would be restored. It would be very ironic to see Ladybug giving one of those magical amulets to another version of herself. But if Ladybug's earrings were akumatized, then things would get much more tense. If a hero's Miraculous is destroyed, the akumatization and transformation are undone, as happened with Queen Vespa when Queen Bee was akumatized. In order for Cat Noir not to discover his Larry's identity before time, Perhaps time travel would be the most appropriate solution. Or would Cat Noir be able to get around the situation without the help of Bunnix or the Time Miraculous? Tell me in the comments because I would love to know. Another thing that could make this episode of Lari Chaos even more exciting would be if Sabine, Marinette's mother, ended up becoming Ladybug for a day. How could that happen? Well, I thought about the possibility of Sabine finding out that her daughter is, in fact, Ladybug, the heroine who sacrifices herself every day in the fight against villains. Fearing that her daughter would end up dying in battle, Sabine would take Marinette's earrings as punishment. This would make Marinette super upset, making her vulnerable to Chrysalis Akuma and transforming her into Lari Chaos. Faced with this, Tiki would be forced to recruit Sabine. As we have seen several times in the series, Kwamis can interact with their bearers even when they are without their Miraculous. I can totally imagine Sabine being completely successful as Ladybug on her first day, both because she is already an adult and because she knows a little martial arts, which would further increase her chances of success. And it would be amazing to see her own mother de-transforming for the first time, since the title of Ladybug is not exclusive, as it was with Lady Wi-Fi, who was nothing more than Alia akumatized by Hawk Moth in the first season. Zag must know that fans have always wanted to see Ladybug akumatized. But we can't forget a tweet from Thomas Astruck saying that Ladybug would never be akumatized. But, leaving that aside, I want to know your opinion. Do you think this Lari Chaos from the 6th season will in fact be akumatized Ladybug or just another common villain from the series? Tell us everything in the comments and share this video with your friends and family. Thank you very much for watching this far.